So welcome everyone. This is a webinar being put on by the Hawaii Farmers Market Association, specifically on implementing SNAP at our farmers markets. So thank you all for joining. My name is Harmony Williams, and I'm a member of this association, as well as the Executive Director of Sustainable Molokai. So I just wanted to start with quick housekeeping. I know you guys are all used to this by now, but please stay muted, through the main part of the presentation. Feel free to type in questions in the chat. And then at the end, we will have a time for questions and answers if anyone wants to unmute and ask questions then. And I'd just like to start off by thanking our sponsors. So this is being put on by the Hawaii State Department of Health. The funding is being provided by them, I should say. And then this overall Hawaii Farmers Market Association project is really being primarily funded by the USDA with a grant from their Farmers Market Promotion Program. And one last thing is this Hawaii Farmers Market Association is a project of the Hawaii Good Food Alliance. And this meeting is being recorded, just so everybody is aware. Okay, so today's agenda, basically we're going to go through what and who exactly is Hawaii Farmers Market Association, why you all might want to accept SNAP, how to get started doing so. Then we're going to get into the exciting part, which I know you're all here for primarily, which is the mini grants program itself. So we'll run through kind of the details of that, the eligibility, and just how to go about applying and participating in that program. And then we're going to hear from our technical assistants from across Hawaii. So a couple different of our partners from the different islands. And then we will wrap up with some time for questions. Okay, so again, Hawaii Farmers Market Association. We are basically a brand new entity. We just got started earlier this year, again, as I said, with a grant from USDA. Our goal being to strengthen and promote a vibrant and sustainable local food system and economy by supporting farmers markets and other direct-to-consumer farm marketing statewide. You can see our website here. So pretty much everything that's shared today, well, this whole webinar will be shared on our website, as well as a lot of the things that we talk about. You can also check out on our new website, which was just launched a few weeks ago. So really our organization focuses on these four main areas of activity. So number one is really helping to market and promote our farmers markets across the state, as well as producers. So we've created an online directory, again, on our website, and we will be rolling out various promotional campaigns, primarily on social media, but also with other segments as needed. So second, we provide technical assistance and educational resources such as webinars like this and networking opportunities. We work to increase market sales and access through expansion of farmers market nutrition programs. And really, we're just trying to create a collective platform, to collect data from all our different markets so they can report, so we can kind of really start to form an entity that can advocate for farmers markets and really have our collective community voice heard. So again, the Hawaii Farmers Market Association is a project of the Hawaii Good Food Alliance, which consists of partner organizations all across the islands, across the state. So we have technical assistance specifically for this program on each island or within each county. And so I'll just run through the primary point people for each island, but do know that some islands have more than one. But on Hawaii Island, that person is Donna Mitz with the Kohala Center. On Oahu, it's Saleh Azizi with Kahumana Farms and the Hawaii Farmers Union United. For Maui County, it's Lauren Lohr. On Kauai, with Hawaii Institute for Public Health. On Kauai, it's Megan Fox with Malama Kauai, and then myself for all the statewide coordinating. Okay, so I'm pretty sure all of you are here, who are here are already, already have a good sense of why accepting SNAP is important. But we just wanted to run through a few, kind of a few highlights, I guess, to get us all on the same page with this. So of course, SNAP, EBT, it was formerly known as food stamps. But basically it allows customers to purchase local food with these subsidized funds from the government. And really a really great benefit of it on the others, the first part is that it really increases access for low-income community to be able to purchase local food. On the other side, it really provides farmers markets with more consistent customer base, right? You get locals to come by and you're less dependent on tourism, which we all know is not the same this year and could be for quite a while. There are over $400 million in SNAP funds available just for Hawaii, just for this fiscal year. So that's a ton of money that you can capture for your farmers market by accepting SNAP. And any of you on here today who are parents probably are familiar with these PEBT funds, specifically for the pandemic. Close to 50 million has been spent in Hawaii so far, with another 11 million still available for use. So we highly encourage markets who are considering getting started with SNAP to review this online toolkit that is available on the DeBucks website. It's a really great resource that'll walk you through each step of getting set up to accept SNAP, including getting all the government approvals, budgeting, funding your program, deciding on which processing system to use, the logistics of running such a program, as well as marketing and promotion basics. So after reviewing all those materials, you kind of have to bring your team together, decide, okay, we're gonna do this. We really want to accept SNAP if it's a good fit for your market. So the first thing you really need to do is apply for an FNS number. FNS stands for Food and Nutrition Services. So it's part of the federal government. It basically enables you to become a SNAP verified retailer. As you can expect, this could take several weeks. Applicants, so if you're gonna apply to this grant program, those of you who have already received your FNS number or who are in the process of applying will receive priority. So you can see here a list of the things that you need in order to complete the application. And it's important to note that the owner, the officers that are listed are responsible for making sure that SNAP acceptance at your market does abide by all of the USDA regulations. So that's something to keep in mind when you're selecting who you list as your owner officers for the farmers market. And you also have to know that at least one of them must be listed, or one of them listed must be currently involved in the farmers market operations for your SNAP authorization to be valid. So you can't just have some officers listed that are not involved. It's got to at least have somebody that's hands-on involved in your market. And if at any point all of the owners or officers leave that market, then you'll need to redo the SNAP authorization process again. So next you'll need to figure out how you're going to process SNAP and if you're going to use a SCRIP. So a SCRIP is basically a transaction method for turning SNAP dollars into something usable at the market. The most common method, you guys probably are familiar with this, is where markets have one terminal where customers use their SNAP EBT card to then buy cards or tokens that they then can walk around and spend at different vendor booths that are marked that they accept those tokens. However, there are some very cool new technologies and apps that allow for customers and vendors to digitally process these transactions, which seem to be very COVID friendly. So we've included on this slide a couple resources where you can learn about some of those methods and technologies. And then really the next part of getting your program set up is to get your equipment to be able to process the EBT. And as you could guess, this could take another few weeks. But once you have your FNS number in hand, then you can go ahead and work on getting that terminal. The traditional point of sale terminals are currently available free of charge, but they are in limited supply. But you can find out about them by contacting Sabrina Young at the Department of Human Services. We have her contact information here. And the bonus for these machines is that transaction fees are waived, so it can save you quite a bit in processing expenses. Some markets choose other processing equipment, such as Square mobile readers, but those do have an additional cost, both for the equipment itself and for processing fees often per transaction. So if you're applying for our SNAP implementation grant program, your equipment is an eligible cost to launch your program. So, by all means, you should do some research and figure out which solution is best for you. There's a lot more after getting that. So after getting that set up, there's a lot more information that's available at the online toolkit that we're going to walk you through again. So with that, I'm going to move on to the main exciting part of the webinar today, which is our mini grant program. So this is really available thanks to the generous support of the Department of Health and their SNAP Ed program. And so through that, we'll be distributing $44,500 in grants. As you can see, the goal is really to help increase access to local produce among low-income communities. To be eligible for the grant program, your farmer's market must be currently open and active as of December 1st. You must have at least 3 participating farms who sell produce through the farmer's market. The third bullet here is you must have completed the Hawaii Farmers Market Association needs assessment. So you can see the link here. Probably most of you here today have already done so, but if not, please go ahead and do that. Basically, that was really our first step in getting this program launched, was to reach out to all of our farmers markets, managers, hear what kind of support they needed, and then try and provide as much of that as we could. And then of course have somebody attend this webinar, which you guys are all here today, so that's great. And then lastly, the timeline. So today is November 20th. We're basically giving you 1 month to get that grant written and turned in. 1 month is a little bit of a short timeline, but the good news is we've kept the applications as simple as possible. We don't want you guys spending a ton of time, writing 20-page applications. It should just be able to summarize your main needs and kind of get to the point. Then the awards will be announced January 20th, so a month after that. And then you'll have, about 7 months, 6 or 7 months to implement, and then get your report finalized into us by August 1st. And then we will be offering 2 different types of grants, one for implementation of new SNAP at farmers markets programs, and then a smaller promotional grant for markets who are already accepting SNAP. So the first grant is the implementation grant. So these are set at $4,000 each. And it's really for markets that are planning on launching a new SNAP acceptance program at their market. Really, we want these expenses to help pay, or we want these grants to help pay for expenses related to the program setup and launch. Priority grant applicants are those who have who have applied or are, maybe they have it already or are in the process of applying. So please do that first and then go ahead and submit your grant application. It's okay if both are happening at the same time, but we just want to see that you're in process. And also to those markets who are in high need areas. So as you can see, some examples here of some allowable costs. Really, we're hoping that you use this for technical assistance to figure out just the best way to implement SNAP at your market. You could also purchase the supplies, as I mentioned earlier, and marketing. And then the non-allowable costs. So this is kind of the tricky part. Again, this is, how there's different rules with federal and state funding and all that. So just please pay attention to this part, because one of the main things is that we cannot pay for market staff salaries or for them to do their current job of managing the market. So if you'd like to pay your market manager for additional consulting or contract hours outside of their normal hours to help with setting up or promoting the SNAP program, that is okay. Paying for an additional person to come in during your market hours to help launch your program, for them to work alongside your market manager for a training period so they can take over the program, is also an acceptable expense. So these should be listed as SNAP setup, technical assistance, and training. Oh, sorry. So then moving on to our promotional grants. So these again are for markets who are currently accepting SNAP. and just need to increase their marketing. Priority will be given to people that show creativity, that have partnerships, and that have targeted campaigns in low-income communities. Here's some examples of allowable costs, signage, banners, flyers, posters, as well as special promotions, such as nutrition education or chef demos. So not allowable costs, again, always the important part to pay attention to. You cannot purchase merchandise for resale. And again, no salary or staffing costs or admin. I will say briefly that this implementation grant, you are allowed to have up to 10% administration costs. So I think it's okay to not play this now and just let you guys know that this is available. You can kind of go to this website here. Oh, sorry. You can go to this website right here, click on this and watch the tutorial at home. When you have time to do that. All the little tricks I got to learn. Okay, so I will just start with the lead in again. So we're going to start with some best practices from Hawaii Island. And sounds like we have a guest surprise change up from Donna Mitz to Nicole Milne. So thank you, Nicole, for joining.
Yeah, hi you guys, thanks for having me today. I'm not going to be as graceful or as knowledgeable as Donna Mitz. She's fantastic. I apologize that she's not here today. She is working to support farmers markets on the island along with Danette. And Danette works down really closely with the food basket in Hilo and supports farmers markets on the south side of the island. But Kohala Center has a history of supporting farmers markets on Hawaii since 2012, when we applied for a farmers market promotion program grant to expand SNAP at markets across the island. So we do have a very high rate of farmers markets accepting SNAP here, which is wonderful. And so we have provided training, advertising, and then technical support services to farmers markets. Again, Dawn, I wish she was here because she really works closely and has the best ideas on tips. But I think that what it comes down to is to make it easy for SNAP customers to shop at your market. So make sure that you are providing signage, advertising on social media, getting the word out that your farmers market accepts SNAPs. That may seem like a no-brainer, but I know that some people overlook marketing when it comes to their farmers markets. And so that marketing can go beyond just the immediate, geography around your farmers markets, but to neighboring towns to draw people in. Post flyers, again, marketing at social service offices, health clinics, schools, and churches nearby your market to help bring in people from all walks of life across your community. And then providing that vendor education has been very critical, making sure that tokens are turned in weekly or whatever schedule you have for accepting tokens. And yeah, so I'm not the expert. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm shortchanging you. But if you're on Hawaii Island, please reach out to us and reach out to Donna Mitz, and she can provide any technical assistance that you need for your market on the island. Thanks, Harmony.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for pinch hitting for Donna. Okay, and now we're gonna move over to Kauai. And just as a quick intro, I just wanted to say that Megan Fox, who's the executive director of Malama Kauai, and her new staff or part-time staff, Stormy Souza, have really done the bulk of a lot of, putting this webinar together and getting our website up and our newsletter. And so I just wanted to really mahalo them for all of their awesome work behind the scenes and even putting this webinar together as well. So I'll turn it over to Megan now.
Thanks, Harmony. Aloha, everyone. So Malama Kauai, we ran a county-funded SNAP and EBT processing program for a few years at our county sunshine markets. So I'm just sharing some of the tips that we learned from doing multiple markets all in one time. I know most of you aren't in that boat, but some of you might be. One of the best for us in terms of programming was we made sure that we had 2 people for all the markets who really understood the legalities and procedures for the program. It is federal funding, SNAP. So, like most federal sources of funding, it has a lot rules and regulations. So you want to make sure that you have people who are really well versed and well trained in those. So having the 2 people cover the markets really allowed for us to have backup if either was out sick or had other emergencies that definitely come up. So I would definitely do that again. And I recommend that in your market out is make sure everyone's cross-trained, everyone knows how to do this. It'd be really unfortunate if someone who was not trained made a mistake with the federal funding, or you weren't able to offer the program after people have really come to rely on it, because they do. Another thing is to train your vendors really well. Nicole mentioned that. I'll go in a little bit more depth. You know, it's very particular what can and cannot be paid for with SNAP, and sometimes it can be confusing. For example, plants that grow food can be purchased with SNAP funds. So your plant vendors, but they can't get flowers, right? So also food to eat on site, served on plates cannot be, and then some food that is prepared but take home can be. Important to have your team get clear and make sure that your vendors are very clear. You also want to make sure that your vendors turn in their tokens or their script every week or every other week, because we definitely had some vendors who would lose their script and then be mad at us when we couldn't pay for lost tokens. And you know, this is money. Your script is money, so you want to make sure they treat it as such and are able to turn it into on a regular basis. And then some other vendor rules and things. We had vendors who tried to accept our script at other locations, like other markets they attended or at their own farm stand. Technically, it's illegal. According to USDA guidelines, you really must just have your market be the location. It's the SNAP processing is tied to that location. So just keep a really close eye. Staff might not know those, so you really want to just make sure you're providing super great education there. And also to know your market, because we were doing 6 different markets, some definitely perform than others. You know, we saw really good ones with basically where market attendees are low. If you have a 4 to 6 p.m. market in residential areas with a high demonstration of SNAP users, you're probably going to do better than something on a weekday at noon in a high tourism area. So definitely know your market and if it's going to be a good fit for you. The other thing is keep in mind your accounting and financial controls process when you're making your budget. If your program's going really well, you're going to be doing a high volume of transactions, and some banks add on fees if you do a high volume of transactions. Run this program under, or you might want to switch and have a second bank account that's just for your SNAP program. And then there is also extra cost in accounting because people are turning in their script. Typically, it's an accountant or someone higher up in the organization that needs to write those checks back to them. Takes up time too, and is a process to develop on the front end. So just get some clarity and about that financial transaction process and what costs those might incur to you as you're setting up your budget. And then, you know, just to fill you guys in, so traditionally when we had done the original program, we had the free readers that are available through DHS. And we have a lot of markets in rural areas that don't always have the best like connection. So it was okay. You have to use a different machine for every market. So if you are one of those ones that does multiple markets, you need a different machine for every market. They have to be labeled, keep them separate. But I think we're launching our food hub soon, and we're actually looking at the total pay system, which they do have a grant you can apply for to get equipment for that for free too, separate through them. And it's basically a square reader with an app onto it. And so we haven't rolled it out yet, so I can't really tell you how well it works, but you can always check in with us later if it is something you're interested in. They were one of the ones on that we had listed on a slide ahead of time that gives you some more information about their program too. So And I just think it's good because there's so many people that are interested in contactless options with COVID around. And sometimes like, you know, having tokens and exchanging tokens. And there was a lot of talk about how do we sanitize them? How do we keep it clean? Because it's kind of just like money. So just something to consider when you're thinking about how your process works. That's all I got. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to Stormy, also on Kauai.
Aloha kako, my name is Stormy Souza from Kauai, and I've been working as a marketing specialist with HFMA through Malama Kauai, and then I'm also the newest market manager at the Halepuna Farmers Market in Waimea on the west side. And they're really great because they're the only farmers market currently accepting SNAP on Kauai. So I'm kind of stepping into this role with a farmers market that has about 2 years of SNAP acceptance, and it's been really, really rewarding. When I looked up Waimea's zip code on the policy map, it showed 18 to 27% of the families in our area are in the poverty line. So the families that use SNAP at our markets make up approximately 30% of our transactions. That may seem like a low number, but we also take into account the amount these folks spend consistently every week, which is anywhere from $25 to $90 to $100. They're loyal customers that definitely make a huge contribution to our overall sales, which is around 40–50% because they spend so much. Especially with the Double Bucks program, it just doubles everything. Back in 2017, when Halepuna first applied and received their FNS number, the tricky part was finding a POS system. So for them, it was the system that was offered required a landline, something most markets don't have access to, including Halepuna, whose market takes place on the property of a 180-year-old historical building. So putting in a landline wasn't one of their options. 2 whole years went by since first applying for their FNS. And then finally, a new program was initiated where the state now pays for POS systems. That's the program that was referred to earlier. So Halepuna's best advice would be to just use the resources that we have that are shared here today, and the webinars that we also shared, just to kind of get all that info to help lead you in the right direction, because the owner of Halepuna really struggled with finding who could help her in the office, you know, and they were kind of going through a shift. So yeah, using our resources would be great. And then reach out and personally invite your community to attend. We had a new county housing project was recently completed directly across the street from Halepuna. To welcome the new neighbors, Halepuna reached out to Waimea Town's restaurants, banks, stores, and fellow farmers to put together some awesome swag bags full of fresh produce, value-added products, and gift cards. The bags were filled and delivered to 35 families by our high school interns. They spend 1 afternoon every week working on our farm. So the kids had a blast. They bagged up all the goodies. You could tell they really enjoyed giving away all the gifts. It was really nice to see. It was also a great opportunity for Halepuna to collaborate and rebuild relationships within our existing community, while also welcoming and inviting a brand new potential customer base to shop at our farmers market. It's been my experience that, you know, if locals aren't really personally invited, then they're not really going to attend. But if someone reaches out and lets us know we're welcomed, then we'll most likely go at least once. And if it's enjoyable and affordable, then we'll definitely come back up again and again. So that was just our input from Westside Kauai. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Stormy. And moving on to Lauren Lohr on Maui.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Lohr. I coordinate the Healthy Eating Active Living Coalition for Maui, Molokai, and Lanai with the Hawaii Public Health Institute. I'm also a food access coordinator. And yeah, our coalition had identified and prioritized really expanding SNAP to a majority of our farmers markets within Maui County, but even more specifically Maui. And pre-COVID, every time we were getting data, it was maybe 1 or 2 markets that consistently were SNAP vendors throughout any given year. But post-COVID, a lot of markets unfortunately did have to close, but we do have more markets now. I think 3 out of the 7 that are open actually accepting EBT at their markets. And even the one that was kind of the long-standing, had always accepted SNAP, had even said that they really needed to reevaluate and have more more of a SNAP kind of fund available at their market, more tokens available, and really had to reevaluate. So I think for a lot of our markets and talking with the farmers market managers, it's just, if there wasn't a need before, it was a lot of work. They didn't have a lot of capacity to be a SNAP vendor, but now that the need has really become more apparent, I have a pretty good bird's eye view as a food access coordinator, just seeing kind of the way that SNAP has increased throughout our county, and just a lot of markets have really stepped up and said, okay, want to work on becoming a SNAP vendor. Definitely there is a need, and I want to be an access point for healthy food for my community. Also, we've had even individual farmers that have become SNAP vendors as well, that go to different markets. So they always have their own SNAP machine, their own EBT machine available. So they become an access point even at different markets that maybe don't accept SNAP centrally. And then also accepting double bucks. That's been a really great improvement as well. And we had a local food hub open up that also is accepting SNAP currently, which they weren't before, but at all of their pickup points, they have SNAP, the machine available for point of sale purchase. And I think the biggest tips, and even from the market managers, just trying to get to know and talk with them, is leaning into the relationships and the networks that they already have. And even within our coalition and different networks, to really figure out, okay, what are the issues, who really needs the support. I think that's kind of a big thing for us, is there's a lot of support that's needed for market managers. And so for us kind of reevaluating as a coalition, you know, is this still a priority? I think definitely, and given the circumstances now, but building those relationships, figuring out where to help with supporting capacity has been super key and important. And it's been wonderful to have the opportunity to be able to work with them as a TA and with the association. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you to all of you. All 4 of you, I think, did a really awesome job of just kind of giving the different scenarios and the way things are playing out on different islands, and then sharing those tips, which really are, you know, the critical things a lot of times that make this work or not. So here on Molokai, we run our Sustainable Molokai mobile market. And we, at this point, have 2 locations where we've been accepting SNAP since 2016. And we are currently in the process of reauthorizing. So just, I guess, heads up, once you get it, it's not always a done deal. It's something you got to stay on top of and keep up to date. The tips I would share, you know, I think everybody covered all the key ones. So I would just say for us, a really awesome thing has been our software. So we have an online ordering system that is through Local Food Marketplace, and I highly recommend them. They're super easy to work with, and it just really has made our whole system flow, you know, from farmers being able to post what they have available, to customers being able to order really easily, to accepting payments, and just, you know, when you go online, you don't just see the products that are available, but you can also see which farmer grew them. And, you know, there's, if you click further in, you can see even their growing practices, where on the island they're located. So I really love that. You know, as Lauren talked about the double bucks program, or the bucks, we've been implementing that for a few years now. Initially just for produce, and then more recently, like this month, we just got them for eggs and grass-fed beef, ground beef, which has been great. And our SNAP EBT sales are about 25% also. And so the last thing I was just going to talk about is something a little more fun, getting creative with advertising. So again, I'm not sure if If it will play here, if not. Okay.
Uy, ano tayo? Oh, shopping for Ohana.
Yeah, you know, just buying groceries for a week.
Why? You EBT card.
Yeah? Why?
You ever heard about the double box of that?
Double box?
Yeah, like the kind double box.
You mean like double box?
Oh, not double box. Double box.
Oh, you mean double box.
Yeah, we're getting closer, but not that kind of box. This kind of box.
Oh, a double box. Wait, what is double box?
Anytime you buy fresh produce from Sustainable Molokai Mobile Market, your EBT card, you know, double.
So I can buy twice as much with my EBT when I shop at the mobile market?
You know that. And double box not only mean more money for more food. That thing means more healthy and more fresh for your whole hunt. Sit.
And so I have to admit that that's my husband. I do drag him into helping out, but luckily he's a good sport and who looks good in his malo on camera. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chelsea with the food basket to talk more about the Bucks program.
Yes, my name is Chelsea. I'm here in the Big Island in Hilo. I work for the Food Basket, and we run we call it the Bucks, Double Up Food Bucks program. We managed to be statewide this year as of June 24th. And I guess I want to explain a little if you're not familiar with Double Bucks. Am I able to share my screen?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Okay, let me try that again. I want to share my internet. Hold on a second. Okay. So I figured this would be the easiest way to explain our program. This is our website, thebucks.org. And this graphic is, I hope is useful. It kind of explains that the point of our program is trying to double the value of your EBT dollars. So $10 of SNAP EBT can purchase a total of $20 value of fruits and vegetables. That's the basis of our program. We did, over the past few months, have had a lot of different additions, including ground beef and eggs. And just as of this Wednesday, we added on local seafood to all the grocery stores. Seafood primarily consists of fish, all types of fish, the fish heads, the fish blood, fish tails. KTA and Times have also offered Kauai shrimp. If it's in stock, they'll be discounting the Kauai shrimp. So we were able to do that because we've received a lot of CARES Act funding, which needs to be spent by the end of the year. So that's the reasoning for those new additions, as well as our new incentive limit. It was $20 of incentive. So this graphic actually should be $20. A SNAP can buy you $40 of value of fruits and vegetables, because that would be your $20 extras that you would get as a free incentive amount. But because of CARES, we were able to increase that incentive limit to $50. So now you can use $50 of your SNAP EBT and get a total of $100 value of combined purchase of fruits, vegetables, ground beef, eggs, and local seafood as of today, as of this Wednesday, that went into the seafood was added. Let's see what's on our slides here. So that's the update. It does seem like our program is getting a lot of funding, but again, a lot of that funding, the CARES Act funding, had to be spent by this year. And because of those different limits, and because of the number of retailers that have onboarded within the last few months, we have committed all of our current funding. So I'm expecting to onboard new retailers once we get new funding. There's going to be a new campaign going out to lobby the legislature for new funding, the state legislature, as well as we're going to apply for another round of GusNet funding that will allow us to continue to the program. And hopefully, if it's enough funding, we'll be able to onboard new retailers. So some of the new ones that I've added recently are Nanakuli Super and Waianae Store. So that's big news because that's was a desert area for our program for a while. Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center has a very large farmers market, but they haven't been able to operate due to the COVID. They have a high rate of COVID in their area, so they haven't been able to operate. We're not sure when they'll be able to open again, but they have a lot of experience implementing double bucks as well as SNAP redemptions. So we're happy we were able to onboard Nanakuli Super and Waianae Store. We also onboarded Maui Hub, Farm Link Hawai'i on Oahu, and Lanakila Pacific has a Meals on Wheels program, and they've added on a green bag program that is a produce bag for their seniors on their Meals on Wheels program. And then you'll be hearing news about Keauhou Farmers Market. Hopefully we can get approval from them soon. From all of our retailers need to get USDA approval. So that's what we're waiting for Keauhou Farmers Market. And yep, those are the last ones that we've committed funding to. On my slides, oh, you can't see them right now, but I'm anticipating to onboard again next summer. That's the date when I'm expecting to have more funding available to onboard new retailers. Oh, and if you are interested in applying at that time next year, you would go to our resources page, click on 4 retailers, and it has the step-by-step instructions. You would fill out an application, download the application. It's really simple, it's 2 pages. I do ask for some projections on how much incentives you think you could issue at your market, as well as 3 months of your actual sales of SNAP sales on produce. We would need to create an MOU together. It's a template MOU that USDA provides, and it will spell out how you intend to issue your incentives. These are more for me to follow up with USDA. We need to get our MOU approval. Once that approval is received, then you're allowed to start accepting GusNIP or incentive dollars from our program. So let me stop sharing. Go back to our slides. Thank you. So yeah, next year when I'm able to onboard new retailers, that's the website that you should refer to that has the list. Oh, and once we do start that process, we'll start talking about implementation. So far, like Harmony said before, there's 2 different methods for issuing SNAP, and that also affects how you want to also accept the bucks. So if you're doing a script system or token system where you're using physical cards, like plastic cards or vouchers, other people use wooden tokens to accept SNAP at their markets, then we would do a matching type of script or token to represent the double bucks dollars. And both need to be unique. You need to have a unique token for your SNAP dollars and a unique token for the bucks dollars, because the bucks is very restricted. It only can be spent on qualifying items. And by next year, it's probably only going to be fruits and vegetables, and it needs to be locally grown in the state. So that's the restriction with the bucks dollars. Other markets have another system. It's a receipt system. Keauhou Farmers Market uses this, where the customer needs to go to each vendor. The vendor will write them out a bill of what they want to purchase, and then they need to take that bill to the central SNAP booth to pay for their items. So that's a receipt system, and it's actually a lot simpler to implement the bucks because you can just take a 50% off discount from that bill when they're paying. So there's different ways you can implement the bucks, and the point is at the end they're going to only spend again a certain amount of SNAP dollars, and then they'll get double the value of that in their purchase. Is that a good stopping point, Harmony?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay.
And we're gonna wrap up in a little bit and leave time for questions anyways. Yeah, if you can hang around, people might have more questions, but I think that was a great overview. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, just a few more slides to wrap up here. Really, the goal of this whole mini grant program is to help you guys, to help people build a sustainable SNAP processing program at your farmers market. We don't want to see the program stop when the grant's over. So it's really important to consider how you'll continue to staff and fund your program after the grant ends. So that's one of the reasons that the funding available is for technical assistance and a training provider. So we're hoping that you can utilize that help to get launched, and then over the course of the grant, be able to become more comfortable with the pace of the program, the way it works, and then that market manager, other staff can really get that help to get trained and take over. For the majority of markets, the market manager will fully then just take over that role of processing as part of their job duties, but you'll still want to have funds readily available for things like, replacing your script, upgrading your technology, and of course, marketing. So here are some ways that markets have found the funds to do that. So of course, step one is, figure out what costs you have, you're going to continue to have to operate with SNAP. And then, here's just some methods you can use. So first, you can charge a small fee to the vendors that do accept SNAP. You could add a few extra vendors as well as their fees. You can look for sponsors. So pretty common sponsors are, health clinics, healthcare providers, as well as businesses. Again, you could always engage your board members or the people that are directly involved with your market. And then really you just want to highlight the value of SNAP in your community and just emphasize how critical it is to have it available at your farmers markets. Another source is grants and individual donors. And then you could also do things like sell merchandise, like t-shirts, bags, hats, all that kind of fun swag. So whatever you do, don't stop marketing and sharing about your program. Highly successful and impactful programs draw in users, funders, and advocates. And these are just a few snapshots we wanted to show. Maybe give you some ideas if you do apply for the grant, how you could use these funds. And with everything online these days, it's really easy to, kind of get lost in all of that. So you definitely want to post the day before and the day of your market to remind folks that it's market day. And with that, I'm going to wrap up and open it up to questions. Stop share. Anybody have questions? You can, you can either put it in the chat or let's see, I don't know if I can unmute everybody, but I think you should be able to unmute yourselves.
Okay, Harmony, I have a question. Okay, so I came in like half an hour late. So we had started a new farmers market and we're trying to, we want to get the EBT machine in. And that's when I'm going to have to come and, ask you guys how we can go about this. But can you use the double bucks at that farmers market?
I'm going to turn
program
to Chelsea to answer that. Chelsea, do you mind taking?
So ideally, if you're new to implementing SNAP, you do want some experience just handling the SNAP first, because it does have its own set of. You're going to want to track your spending and make sure you have the processes down first, and then if you want to do double bucks, I do recommend having a dedicated person, just like Megan was saying. She has 2 dedicated people to run the SNAP. You want a third person to run your double bucks. In my experience, I was always asked in the past when we were doing pilots, I would be the person to go to the farmer's market and do all the bucks transactions alongside the person who was doing the EBT transactions.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can apply next year, and I would work with you on how to do it. You need to have your SNAP authorization number. And you need to be approved by FNS, USDA FNS with your MOU with us.
Okay, because Chelsea, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but we started a new farmers market back. I think the start date was September 25th. With Auntie Maddie and Gloria, they have that open market now, the farmers market in Pahoa. Are you familiar?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so we're the ones that want to get the EBT machine and get the buck stopping up, but that's when I'm gonna have to, get in touch with you, and so you can help us out with that.
So you currently don't have an EBT machine?
No, not right now.
Okay. Yep, Sabrina Young would be the best person to contact. She has the free terminals.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Actually, ask questions, huh?
Yeah. Anyone else have questions? Well, we've got all these experts here together. Okay, well, otherwise, yes, this webinar will be posted on our website. We'll probably do a little editing first. Didn't have too many technical difficulties this time, so that was great. Again, thank you so much to Megan and Stormy for really coordinating the bulk of this. Mahalo to all of you that spoke on, just shared from your different island experiences. And thank you to all of you who joined us today. It was great to see a pretty good attendance. Yay. So if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and, look close at those grant applications and let us know if you have any questions. We're happy to help with the applications. Anything I forgot, Megan or Stormy? Anything you want to add?
We'll
Okay.
send out the link to the applications soon.
Okay. Yeah, and the link is available on the website as well.
Sweet.
Right? HawaiiFarmersMarket.org.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, happy Friday. Everybody go have a healthy, local, yummy lunch.
Harmony, I will email you.
Okay.
I will email you later on this evening when I get home.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.